What the Pittsburgh Steelers did in the draft may have been confusing to some of you, but it made complete sense to me. I'm not saying the Steelers have set themselves up to be contenders in 2025, but I absolutely love the Will Howard and Jack Sawyer picks. I think Howard is a quarterback beyond his years that is ready for the NFL, despite what some people say, and then Sawyer is a Steelers type of lineman. Like, as a Buckeyes fan, I could just see and picture him in a Steelers uniform. He just has that TJ Watt type of vibe to him. Now, is he going to be TJ Watt? Probably not, but I think the Steelers coaching staff can turn this guy into a monster. And then besides those two, the Steelers drafted some great players as well, and they made some good signings too before the draft that I want to talk about. Again, I know the Steelers are not going to be contenders in 2025, but I feel like they are finally building towards something, and next offseason, with the quarterbacks that will become available, that's when I think they can cash in. But in this video, I want to do a draft and just offseason review because the building blocks and new foundation are in place, so let's talk about it. But first, I would really appreciate it if you would drop a like and subscribe. It only takes 5 seconds, plus you can always change your mind. We are on the road to 50,000 subscribers, and with your support, I believe that we can get there super fast. Alright, so let's start out going over the Steelers' first round pick at number 21, where they selected Harmon out of Oregon. This at the time was definitely a surprising pick because the hole at quarterback was clear, and both Shedeur Sanders and Jackson Dart were available, but obviously taking Harmon here to shore up the defensive line and add to it made a lot of sense as we watched the rest of the draft unfold and Shedeur slide in historic fashion. If I at the time had to make a bet, I would have put my money on Shedeur, but the Steelers decided to go best player available on their board, and honestly, things could not have worked out better because Harmon is a dog, and as an Ohio State fan, we saw a lot of him last year. I know things have been a slow process for the Steelers, but this really was a prime example of a no season at Oregon following his transfer from Michigan State. Standing at 6'4.5" and weighing 313 pounds, Harmon combines size, strength, and surprising athleticism, making him an immediate disruptive presence on the defensive line. Let's take a look at some of his strengths. First off would of course be his run defense. Harmon is a stout run defender capable of anchoring against double teams and maintaining his ground with a wide sturdy base. His pad level and hip sync allows him to absorb contact and recover even when he's moved off his spot. He also has a ton of versatility. He has experience playing across the defensive front, lining up at both end spots and nose tackle and motor and physicality. He reads blocking schemes very well and can react quickly. He's adept at using post-snap movement to disrupt plays, and he can split combo blocks to make tackles, and then he obviously plays with a ton of intensity every single snap. He never takes a play off, and that is exactly what you want out of a first round pick. But with that being said, like every rookie, there are some weaknesses. He needs to improve his ability to finish, as there were too many missed tackles and sack opportunities that could have boosted his production even further than what it was. And then also, his dominant production came in just one season at Oregon. Teams may question whether his breakout is sustainable or just a product of the system he was in. But overall, I don't think anyone can say that this wasn't a great value pick for where the Steelers were able to get him at. Alright, now moving on, let's take a look at the second pick the Steelers made in this draft in Caleb Johnson, a running back out of Iowa. They definitely stuck with the Big Ten theme here. He's 6 foot tall, 225 pounds, and in 2024 at Iowa, he had 240 rushing attempts for 1,537 yards with 21 touchdowns, 6.4 yards per carry, 188 receiving yards, and 2 receiving touchdowns. And doing that is especially impressive because everyone knows how Iowa operates. Everyone knows that they're a run-heavy team. They've never really been that great at passing, so that really just makes it all the more impressive because when you know that a team's gonna run, it should be easier as a defense to get stops, but he was still able to be super productive and he was able to dominate. He had 8 games with over 100 rushing yards, including a 206-yard 3 TD performance against Minnesota. Johnson definitely is a guy who thrives on volume and gets better as games progress. Last year he demonstrated a lot of advanced patience and vision. He consistently allowed blocks to develop before accelerating through. He's estimated to have about those lines. But anyways, in terms of the immediate fit and outlook, Johnson is under Arthur Smith. Alright, now moving on, let's talk about Jack Sawyer out of the Ohio State University. Obviously, he was a huge part and played a huge role in Ohio State's national championship run. I'm sure most of you guys remember the strip sack he had against Texas to pretty much seal the deal to get the Buckeyes to the national championship. He was drafted by the Steelers 123rd overall. He's a high motor edge defender. He projects right now as a rotational outside linebacker behind Alex Highsmith and TJ Watt, but he definitely does have the potential to earn more snaps early in his career due to his fit and hard-nosed defensive identity. Jack Sawyer was used in multiple roles at Ohio State, lining up both as an edge and interior defender, and occasionally dropping into coverage, and that's just super valuable at the NFL level. You want those guys that can do more than one thing, and for rookies, that just creates a ton of opportunity that they wouldn't have if they weren't versatile. Sawyer's game is definitely built on strength and power at the point of attack. He is disciplined, he sets the edge well, and consistently holds his ground against the run. He's definitely reliable in maintaining his gap and is effective at creating statements with offensive tackles. At 6'4" and 260 pounds, Sawyer has prototypical size for an NFL edge rusher with solid length and a frame that ranks in the 88th percentile for height among edge defenders. Alright, now let's move on to the Will Howard pick, a 5th-year senior quarterback, also from Ohio State. This is a guy that I really think is going to be able to make a smooth transition to the NFL, especially just because of how much he played in college, how long he was there for. He has the experience and the frame, and he's not going to let pressure get to him. Is Will Howard the long-term answer? Probably not, but he definitely has the potential to. I'm not going to limit what his capabilities are because we saw what he could do at Ohio State. In that playoff run, he played near perfect football. In 2024, he had a 73% completion rate, which is up there with guys like Shedeur Sanders. He had over 4,000 passing yards with 35 touchdowns, and of course, he led the Buckeyes to that national championship. And at Kansas State, he had 9,795 passing yards with 83 touchdowns to 35 interceptions, and had a 63.8% completion rate. This is a guy with a great pocket presence. He stands tall, he shows willingness to take hits, and he can slide within the pocket to buy time, and he's really good at not panicking and keeping his eyes downfield when a play breaks down. He's actually a lot faster and a lot better of a runner, and he's a lot more mobile than people give him credit for. Obviously, by no means is he a running quarterback, but he has the ability to escape the pocket when he needs to and when things are collapsing. We saw it multiple times at Ohio State where he created those back-breaking plays for a defense. And I mean, he just gets the football to his guys. That's what he does. He's not flashy, but he's going to get his best playmaker a ton of opportunities. And now with DK Metcalf, the Steelers have a nice little receiving core, and I really love their tight end room as well. So yeah, I mean, overall, I think the Steelers nailed the draft. Obviously, they didn't get anyone flashy that's going to come in and save the franchise right away, but I think they added to their depth. I think they added players that are long-term fits, but I'm definitely curious to hear what you guys think about what the Steelers did in the draft in the comments below. And also, let me know what you would like to see the Steelers do the rest of the offseason, because I know there's Aaron Rodgers. I know there's still a lot of drama that the media is going to be talking about over the next few weeks. Thank you all so much if you made it to this point. Overall, I have to give the Steelers a B+, maybe even A-, but I'm going to stick with B+ right now for what they did in the draft. We're going to have to wait and see everything unfold. Please be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you enjoyed this one. Let me know what you would like to see next, and until then, I will see you all later.